What can't you believe still exists in 2022? 70.
Pop-up ads. Like who still falls for that? You gonna cry from jealousy when I marry one of the sexy ladies in my area that lusts for me.
The naive people. That's why all this gay stupid. Nigerian prince, unknown relative, someone you fall in love with over the internet. Someone once called me and tried to convince me there was a crypto wallet made on my name and I could use the funds on it. It filters out those who are careful and pay attention and saves the time for scammers, so only the gullible reach out.
Yay, cast a wide enough net and you'll eventually catch some fish. They're not going for you, they're going for the low-hanging fruit, people that just started using a computer a few weeks ago. My sister-in-law fell for a basic PayPal phishing scam email telling her she needed to re-verify her credentials and move to an unknown email. Fell for this not once but twice. They're going after people like that.
Keith Richards.
That there still isn't a good easy way to wash hats.
Flat Earth Society.
Queen Elizabeth II.
I don't own a fax machine or know anyone who does. You no longer have to own your own fax. Our company has never had a fax machine but lists a fax number on our website. Here is how it works. There are companies out there that provide virtual fax machines. If they get a fax, it is scanned in and emailed to you as an attachment. Send a fax, you go to their website in a web browser and upload a JPEG, or any picture, and type in the phone number and it is faxed to them from your fax number. There is no way to tell this from the original, so we're all free to just sit at our desks and use web browsers and possibly your smartphone to send and receive faxes now. We happen to use eFax and pay them a small amount each month, but there are probably free alternatives. It has worked flawlessly for us for the last 15 years. Nobody, and I mean nobody, should have a fax machine anymore. That's what these services are for, so you don't have to have a physical fax machine and you can receive the fax standing anywhere in the world because it's emailed to you as an attachment. You can send the fax from any smartphone standing anywhere in the world because all it takes is a web browser. The Kardashians having a show.
Slavery. Human trafficking. All the bad stuff.
If there is a silver lining to this, it's that the number of people enslaved and trafficked per million humans, is way down from previous centuries, and it's illegal everywhere. It exists in the shadows and under threat of law enforcement finding them out. It's a massive improvement for our species as a whole.
What is a movie everyone knows just by one quote?
Who you gonna call?
Guys.
My precious. You probably even read that quote in his voice.
But as in South Park?
The first rule of Fight Club is that no one talks about Fight Club. Oh, wait.
No, I am your father. What's the biggest legal scam?
Civil forfeiture laws. Law enforcement has the right to seize private property and assets without having to prove you did anything wrong. To get it back you have to prove you are innocent. Not exactly. To get it back you have to prove the item is innocent, not that you are innocent. Yes, it's exactly as fucked up as.
Worse, actually. Proving you are innocent is doable. Hey, I was out of town or whatever. Proving the item is innocent. How do you do that exactly?
I can vouch for that fat stack of cash. It is innocent. The first tell you, I was with it all night. No way it was anywhere near.
Knew someone that had their computer seized. Their investigation didn't find anything good. They never gave the computer back either.
Predatory tow truck drivers. Scum of the earth emo. Charging $400 plus cash to release your car from East parking in a parking lot is a fucking joke. I know the next part will be more unpopular. It's even more absurd that it's considered grand theft to take matters into your own hands and take the car back yourself. These tow lots can charge whatever they want to hold your car hostage and it's fucking ridiculous.
Our local scum tow shop only accepts cash to get your car back. They have an ATM, but it is a crazy high fee, and, even though their base charge is $400, the ATM will only give you $200 at a time, so you have to pay the fee twice. They sponsor our minor league sports team, and every time the announcer mentions them, the entire crowd boos loudly.
My shit changed parking passes over the summer while I was visiting my hometown and they towed my car the first night I came back. Couldn't get a pass when I came back because the office was closed. Car was towed before the office opened on the morning. Office said get fucked. In my country, if they clearly charge over a reasonable amount, you just don't pay and let you, or if they don't give you the car back, then you sue them for extortion. Problem is, what is a reasonable fee? Is 400 clearly too much? These companies know that, and they will charge just under what could be described as clearly over the top. Scum of the earth.
If you get there in time, get into the car. Tow if you are sitting in the car. Be prepared to wait them out. Time is money, so they will give up eventually to go get someone else. They may be dicks, but they cannot touch you or prevent you from getting in the car. Most of the driver's anger is a bluff. If they touch you, or try and drive off with you in the car, call 911 immediately. They will get arrested.
Also, repo agencies are in cahoots with tow drivers and storage lots. They will tow your car on a Friday night knowing full well they aren't open on a weekend, but will still charge you storage fees for those days even though there's no way to get your car out until Monday.
MLMs. While scams are legal, MLMs are still legal.
They're very similar. I looked up the difference recently. While both use consultants who sell products and recruit others, often requiring the consultant to first buy the product themselves in order to sell it to others, the government defines pyramid schemes as one where consultants earn more money for recruiting new consultants than for selling products.
MLMs make their money from selling a product. It becomes a pyramid scheme if they make their money by getting people to join, forcing them to buy X amount of product, having high join fees, etc.
Diamonds. They are not they are not naturally scarce. Other gemstones are rarer. They cost so much because of advertising and a price-fixing cartel that keeps the price artificially high and nobody complains.
Why is it illegal to look at a situation and pad the interest rate due to the high probability the person can't or won't pay it? The well-intentioned good and moral citizen. It's the exact same reason full coverage car insurance is extremely high to the 18-year-old driver with a V8 sports car with mods and several speeding tickets on record than a 45-year-old with a sedan and no accidents or speeding tickets. This is a completely rational and logical approach to lending.
What profession was once respected but no longer is?
Working in retail. At one time that was considered a middle-class profession.
I had an uncle who sold appliances at Sears. Had a nice home, married, couple of kids. A neighbor worked at Elderby in the mid-'89s came, they were all but gone.
My grandfather worked at Sears, I think he fit suits. Shit, that doesn't sound like Sears. Whatever. It worked for him. He also worked in a lab.
My 93-year-old grandfather still has a bicycle and he bought from Sears.
The suits were off the rack, but then the sales guy fitted it to you for alterations. In the back were several women who could practically take a suit apart and resew it so it fit perfectly. The guys who sold suits at department stores like JCPenney, Sears, Macy's, etc. made a commission on each suit they sold, on top of their hourly rate. They also got commission for accessories like shirts and ties. A seasoned salesman who had built a following of repeat customers, who would also bring in their growing sons, could make a nice living.
In the early 20th century, the Sears catalog was what Amazon is today. Before Sears went bankrupt, Jeff Bezos even considered buying it out.
Bank manager. Back in the day you were the man that people wanted to know to get their shit done. Now you're just an escalation point for customer service complaints.
I think it changes due to regulation. Decisions were based on managers' assessments of the borrower. Communities were smaller and managers usually knew who was a good fit for the loan and who wasn't. Nowadays, things are based on numbers, ratings, scores, and the decisions get audited twice a year.
I went into my Chase Bank a while back loan. The bank lady tells me they don't do them in person anymore. You can either phone in or do it online. She offers to let me use her office phone to apply. I said no thanks, I can do that at home. I then went to my local credit union and opened an account. With a person. I then applied for the car loan and applied for a credit card and all of that on the same day while sitting in front of a person. Not only did they approve my $15,000 car loan but gave me $5,000 credit limit credit card that they later upped another $4,000 about 6 months later without me asking. It was the best experience.
What industry would be the first to go bankrupt if everybody on Earth suddenly gained an increased intelligence?
MLMs.
The crazy thing with slots is they're literally designed to win more money than you put in. And casinos are open about that too. People have weird superstitions about when it's garbage. The odds are completely against you on every spin. I don't get why anyone is into that.
I went to eat at the casino yesterday and decided to play 20 bucks for fun. Lady in the machine next to me won 6 million the time it took for me to play that $20. That's why people are in the what ifs.
Never understood this. Hate losing money.
The scummier parts of the finance industry would be nervous.
I was thinking this too. Payday loans, scummy car dealerships, tax preparation places, rent-to-own places. I was looking for a car once and asked about one at one of those lots. They only accept payments. You can't just buy a car.
Hype brands like Supreme and stuff like that. Ain't no way a random hoodie is worth $3,000.
Yeah, especially as clothes can depreciate in value and can get messed up like any ends of clothes. Designer brands are overrated. People can do whatever they want, but yeah, designer brands are overrated to me.
If it was like made out of the toughest material maybe, or like rugged Kevlar or tough fibers maybe, but yeah, it's just plain simple maybe nice fine cotton or other non-tough.
Rent to own.
My brother used to have a crap ton of rent-to-own stuff and we didn't know. When we found out, we finally realized why he was always broke despite working a lot of overtime at a decent paying job.
Had a friend work in rent-to-own for years. It will rebuild their credit through regular monthly payments. Even though you end up paying more than the price of the item, the benefit is the restored credit, so you can actually borrow for something better, like a house or car. But of course, the problem is that's not how a lot of people use it. In addition to the high cost of items you mentioned, if you start missing payments it will get repoed.
And not just that item will get repoed. The structure of the contracts in these places is there is one contract that adds on items. A default on one is a default on all, and so get to repo everything. And very few people are rent to own on just one item. Some people are of entire rooms repoed. Makes it more profitable by getting to resell the same item many times.
That just sounds like the typical self-justification that exploitative industries use to excuse their scummy behavior. We're not exploitative, people just don't use it right. It's just another predatory industry in a long line of industries.
What's the most ridiculous thing you saw a computer illiterate person do with a computer? I have two older coworkers who aren't sure how computers really work. Both have wireless mice. Coworker A's mouse stops working and can't figure out why. Coworker beats and walks over to her desk, puts his mouse down and jiggles it around, remarking, "Huh, mine isn't working either here. Must be your desk or something." Meanwhile his cursor is doing a dance around his screen. All I could do to keep a straight face.
Early 2000 segundos. Opened an email account for my parents. I set it up on their work computer since I was waiting for them to finish work. Everything worked great until one day I told them to open an email I sent them and they kept insisting they do it the next day when they were at work. Long story short, they saw their email left in the work computer and they couldn't access it from other computers. A quick lesson in email and suddenly they got much more responsive to emails.
My grandma got a tablet and an email recently. The next summer she was at the vacation house and we set up a phone as Wi-Fi provider, the share your 4 grams thing. How did it know I was here? She was explained the email address was like a home address and therefore convinced it was tied to a single location. The fact that there is usually no internet in the vacation house didn't help.
This is my mom, but she refuses to learn or change her ways when it comes to technology. Her email continues to exist on a single computer for her. And it's not like she rarely uses a computer, she spends most of her life on them looking at propaganda news articles online. It drives me mad watching her two-finger peck at the keyboard or take a picture of a computer article with her phone to send to people knowing that's what she does 12 hours a day every day.
My colleague at work screenshots his screens, he has two, puts the screenshot into a Word document, adjusts it so that just the wanted window is visible, presses print and prints it into PDF 24 where he can save the file. He then email and puts the file in. Because learning how to use snipping tool takes too long.
You should report it, so that he's forced to learn new tricks. There's no way I'd put up with that. That's like getting hot water from your neighbor's shower because the kettle is too